thank you so much for clicking on the video, and I hope everyone is doing really well. Now, I know that parents really just want the best for their children, and I'm not a parent myself, so I don't know what goes through a parent's mind when it comes to their children. Majority of parents, they love their children, they want the best for their children, they would do anything for their children. However, sometimes parents make mistakes. They're not perfect, and sometimes they say things to their very young child when their child is still developing, when their child is still in those stages where they are basically absorbing. They're absorbing the world and just taking everything in and forming their mind and forming who they're going to be when they're older. And sometimes parents say things that basically really harm the development of their child. Now, that doesn't make a parent a bad person, because more times than not, the parent, when they say something that has that kind of negative effect on their child's mental development, it's coming from good intentions. Their intentions are good. They're trying to teach their kids good lessons, good morals, good ethics, and all these things, and sometimes it just is said badly. I can speak from my own experience that this is 100% true. Parents do say some things that are incredibly hurtful to their child and harmful, but it's because even parents are still learning how to interact and communicate with their children at every stage of life, whether it's infancy, children, like young children, into adolescence, and into preteen, teen stages. Parents are always learning how to communicate with their child, because as you grow, everyone changes, and the communication between people changes as people grow. So what is my point? So like I said, I know that parents do not set out to hurt their children or harm their children, but at the same time, no parent really wishes and hopes for an obese child. But sometimes it happens. So how does one communicate to their child that they're worried about their weight without triggering, I hate that word, but without triggering a misunderstanding, developing a bad relationship with eating? A child's mind is very susceptible to ideas presented to them. Like I said, young children are just absorbing the world. They're learning all of this for the first time, and what they learn in their childhood is going to carry with them into their teenage years and into adulthood. It's kind of interesting to think that the things that we hold on to as children and the things that we learn as children, such a young age, those are the things that are going to create our personality and create who we are way down the road when we're adults. And that's something that it's very important for parents to understand, and understand that the things that you say now are going to stick with that child for the rest of their life. It all comes down to when something is said to a child, that those words, those concepts, those ideas are locked away in their subconscious. And later on in life, as they grow and they become aware of their subconscious and they become aware of their consciousness, those things that were locked away start to present themselves and come out, and they could present themselves in a negative way. The things that are locked away in their subconscious become the tools and mechanisms that this child is later going to use when it comes to coping with life events. Parents who control their children's eating behavior. Parents who tell their child not to eat certain things, tell their children to stop eating when they see that their child might be eating a little bit more than they think or they deem the right amount. Parents who inadvertently call their children fat. That's what I want to address today. That's what I want to talk about. Parents who take controlling eating, maybe their own controlling eating habits, and projecting them onto their children. As someone who at a very young age was told by a parent, my own parent, that I am fat, this stuck with me. For 20 years, those words stuck with me. And they're still in my head. But for majority of my life, those words, because they were said to me by the one person in this world that is supposed to love you unconditionally, said it to me. And that's why it stuck with me for so long. And I'm still fighting the echoing sounds of their words in my head. When you say things like that, comments about how a child eats, how much a child eats, how a child looks, their own child, this leads to low self-esteem. And when a child has low self-esteem from a young age, it carries with them. It never leaves them. It stays with them through their life. And with low self-esteem, that child is going to look for validation and look for ways to feel better about themselves. And the only thing that they have to rely on is the parents' expectations of them. When a parent expects their child to be thin, these are the expectations that a child will form a scale of validation based off of that theory, based off of that idea. And so for the rest of that child's life, they're going to look for their self-worth in their own reflection. They're going to look for their self-worth in their body image. And when their body image does not match the body image ideal of their parent, it's going to lead to negative consequences. When comments are made about body image, it leads to a lack of understanding about body image positivity, about accepting oneself. It leads to a lack of confidence and a lack of a proper understanding of nutrition. Now, you wouldn't expect to teach a child nutrition, like the type where, you delve into like all the micro and macronutrients and all that stuff. But if you teach a child a basic understanding of nutrition, they're going to learn that. They're going to hold on to that. So don't think a kid is dumb. Teach them. As a parent, it is your job to be a teacher. And so teach them. If you want your child to grow up healthy and happy and not obese or not fat or whatever words you want to use, if you don't want that for your child, teach them. Teach them healthy habits so that they don't become what you're afraid of, so that they can live a happy, healthy, fit life. There are parents who will make comments when they see their child reaching for something to eat because that child feels hungry, and they say, "Are you sure you want to eat that?" Or, "No, don't eat that." Or even at a meal, stopping their child even when the child wants to keep eating. By doing this, you're not allowing the child to learn to listen to their body, learn to recognize the full signs. Sometimes you have to let a kid overeat so that the child learns that, oh, when I eat this much, I don't feel good. You need to let them learn that. And over time, as you allow them to learn, they'll catch on to the pattern. Again, kids are not stupid, so let them learn their lesson. Sometimes you have to let things happen so that they learn. And it's a teachable moment on your part as well to allow them to go through that. Now, no one wants to see their child sick or uncomfortable. And this is a time where you can sit them down or lay them down because they're probably got a tummy ache because they ate too much. But you can talk to them and explain to them what's going on. And they'll listen and they'll take that in and they'll have understanding. So next time when they're eating, they'll start to recognize the signs, the body's signs of telling them that, okay, the body's saying, I'm full now, I'm good now, you don't need to eat anymore. When it comes to how we communicate with children, it's very hard because for most of us, myself included, it's hard to see a kid as a full human. Now that might sound weird, but again, they're still developing. And that's why it's so important to really think before you speak to them. Always look at it as a teachable moment and as a moment that if I say something hurtful, that is going to affect this child for the rest of their life. Now that is an extreme, but with kids, you've got to be careful, so think to the extreme. So yes, words can be hurtful and can affect a child's whole view of themselves. And this leads to never truly developing the ability to know what they look like. And when they're basing their body image off what the parent tells them they look like, this leads to things like body image dysmorphia. When you have body image dysmorphia your whole life because an adult told you you look a certain way and they tell you constantly that you look that way, it is trapped in that child's mind that that is all they're ever going to look like. And so for the rest of their life, until they're able to recognize the dysmorphia and beat the dysmorphia, that body image that their parent projected out onto them is all they're ever going to see when they look in the mirror. But this is something very, very personal to me. And I've been hearing about other parents. I mean, I've heard other parents say things to their child. I've overheard stuff that I wish I could just tell that. They're a stranger, of course. I can't tell them, but I just wish I could tell that parent, don't say that to your little girl. Don't say that to your son. Don't say that. Because you don't know how their subconscious is going to translate that. Yes, parents make mistakes. I'm not saying parents need to be perfect. It's okay to make mistakes, but it's important to recognize your mistakes and figure out how to fix them and how to give your child the best life possible and you have to teach your child that it's okay to love yourself. It's okay to accept yourself at any stage that you're at. If you're a little bit overweight, still accept yourself. If you're going through something that's really really trying and really hard, you still accept yourself. And the parent's job is to be the number one support in that child's life and stand by them through it all. And sometimes a parent has to take the responsibility when they see that their child later in life has an eating disorder. And it may, while yes, it's always the child's choice, that person's choice, everyone has a choice to harm themselves or not harm themselves. But when your whole life you're being told one thing and things are not turning out that way, it's hard not to hurt yourself in some way to try and fix what you think is wrong. It's important for a parent to teach their child that they are not broken. Thank you for watching the video. Thank you for sitting through it. If you learned anything, if you enjoyed anything, please hit the like button. For more videos about these kind of things and mostly diet and eating disorder videos, please subscribe and I will see you next time. Bye.